saw in this week in Romans that the only law that will beat the law of sin that our flesh has been trained by to live in a sinful way is the law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus. Wow, what a powerful law that sets us free from the power of the flesh. Then we saw in Romans 5, as we backtrack, that righteousness, our right standing with God, is what we need to focus on to release that grace, the grace of being empowered to overcome that sin. And Paul took this argument right from the beginning of Romans, and we're going to read in Romans 1 today from verse 16 to 17 to show you how he started this argument. He says, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God to salvation for everyone who believes, for the Jew first and also for the Greek. For in it, in the gospel, the righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith." You see, the Jews were all about keeping the law, trying to get right standing with God by obeying the law. The Greeks were all about intellectualism. They were all about mind power. And so they tried to get right standing by mind power and by helping themselves basically with self-help programs to be successful. But this is really not the gospel. The gospel is summed up in three statements. And this is the three statements. Jesus did it, Jesus did it, and Jesus did it. The gospel has given us something that Jesus did that we could not do. Mind power and law keeping will not do the job. We've got to access the spirit life of God, the imparted righteousness of God. And when we focus on that, that is when we actually truly living by faith. We are living now by faith in the truth of who we are in the Spirit, who we are as sons and daughters of God, and we are alive unto God by the Spirit. And that is the life that we need to access to live in this life, a successful life that now conquers the desires and the passions of the flesh on a daily, regular basis. So I want to just encourage you, access that by believing your righteousness. Access that by reading the Word and finding those promises about who you are in Christ, about your righteousness. And you will see how that beats mind power, how that beats the law keeping, and how it switches on your mind to the truth about who you are in the Spirit. Always remember, you are highly favored and deeply loved.